I am so effing mad right now. Game of Thrones has been a waste of my life. Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Obvious, bringing you the obvious. And today's on the twatters. Ho ho! Women are absolutely livid about Game of Thrones. For those of you that are aware, Daenerys, the Dragon Queen, has finally lost her mind. She took her dragon, and even though the city, the capital, surrendered, they rung the bell, that means they're surrendering, she burned that entire city to the ground, slaughtering women, children, soldiers, and mostly innocent people. And I gotta be honest, I'm not surprised. I thought she was crazy since the beginning. It was obvious. She burned her brother with liquid gold, her own flesh and blood. And then I was really convinced when she started acting all preachy and, we gotta save the minorities. And she burned the leaders of what are they called? Dothraki. The leaders of the Dothraki were having a meeting, right? It's like a patriarchal society, and she burned them all alive. That's when I knew that bitch was crazy. So let's take a little look at what these people are saying. Candace Aston says, gotta be white guys that ultimately save the day, after years of women killing it. F you, F you, F you. Oh, what, you mean like real life? Women ultimately can't be trusted. Let me find out the writers are Trump supporters or Bernie supporters. Okay.
How dare you compare us to those filthy animals?
I'm literally crying right now because a decade of my life has been wasted on a show ultimately guided by the white male viewpoint.
Cry more.
And funnily enough, this isn't even the beginning. So many people are upset by this. Shaco Louis says, hashtag Game of Thrones. Finally, it's the same old shit of gender bias on leadership. The man is more fit to rule because he is more likable, while the woman has conquered the narrow sea, freed a bunch of slaves, and raised 3 effing dragons. We've learned nothing from 2016. Okay, so I'm gonna reply to this because it's obvious. First, Jon Snow is more fit to rule. Second, he's the true heir to the throne. Third, he's actually a decent person, unlike the insane, the mad Dragon Queen. Okay. And yeah, she conquered a lot. She killed a lot. She got her own people killed a lot. Not to mention, she got her dragons killed, and for that alone, I hate her. Spragu Graydon says, what did we honestly expect from a show where during the first season, the major female characters were often naked/wearing very little clothing, or having missionary sex for the sole purpose of procreation with no eye contact? Honestly, this feels like their punishment for rising to equals. Hashtag Game of Thrones. You know that the funniest part of all this is, I knew Daenerys was insane when she killed her brother. Who pours gold on your own flesh and blood? Liquid gold. Who does that? And it was for revenge because he politically married her into a marriage that she actually liked, like her one true love other than Jon Snow, And then she burned the men of the tribe, locked them in their little hut, and took over. How is that not evil? From the very beginning, I knew she was cray-cray. And yet we have all these women. Oh, she's so powerful. She's so amazing. She's a saint. She just wants to help people. She just wants to free the world. Oh, does she? It looks like all she cares about is revenge, ruling, and her own vanity. So the best part of all this is that for years they've been saying Khaleesi is a symbol of female empowerment. She's such a cool person. You go, girl.
Go right out the door.
There was literally women out there who named their daughters after this character. Game of Thrones superfan names daughter Khaleesi after show helped her through miscarriage. She's overcome so much. Mom Catherine Acosta says of Daenerys Targaryen. Of all the things that did not age well, this has to be top 3. You ever notice how all these, especially, I don't know if it's just a female thing. No, because I've seen it in the soy boys as well. They conflate fiction with reality. They're so lost in their delusions that to them, fiction is an extension of reality. I mean, how cringy is it naming your child after a TV show character because she's so cool, because she's a symbol of feminism? Well, if feminism is destroying innocent people, destroying entire nations, letting your people die, also that you can rule and get to act powerful, then yes, It is a perfect representation of what feminism has done to society. Kate Bond says, having men of color ride through the streets, slaughtering innocent white women and children was a great touch, guys. Way to go. I hate you so much. Hashtag Game of Thrones. See, that's the thing with the regressive left. No woman can possibly do wrong. No men of color can possibly be evil, because that would make them look bad, right? And if they look bad, since they confuse fiction with reality, that means that they are bad. It implies they are bad in real life, which is a dumb thing to think. It's fiction. And if they weren't so delusional, they would have seen this coming a long time ago. I knew it so quickly. It wasn't even funny. I knew she was crazy. It was obvious. And finally, 8-10 years later, I'm finally being proven right. This happens a lot to me, folks. I have a gut feeling, I say this is how it is, and then boom, it's right again. Now, I saved this post from Hacker4chan, and we'll take a look at them too. Let's see here. Spend 7 seasons hinting that Dany is prone to insanity. Mention constantly that Targaryens are known for going insane. The only people that actually respect her as ruler are the horse riders and those without penises. Horse riders only like her because she's an effing lunatic that's prone to violence. Dickless are dumb as F, and respect simply because she freed them and told them to kill the people that took their dicks. Meereen showed what happens when she tried to rule people that don't worship the ground she works on. They effing hate her, and it takes Tyrion to stabilize the shit show. She shows up in restaurants and starts burning everyone that doesn't agree to follow her blindly, which is most everyone. I hate this country. Nobody likes me.
Maybe it's because you keep killing them, but okay.
How did anyone honestly think she wasn't going to go insane? They foreshadowed her insanity for a long-ass time. Yeah, like I said, when she poured gold on her brother, that's when I knew she was insane. My favorite take from this is a bunch of idiots name their daughters Daenerys and Khaleesi because they want their daughters to be strong, confident women. I call this poetic justice. So wait, let's see what's left. Mad Queen plus Army of Color versus Jon and Northerners, who are staged to be the good guys. Oh boy. Hashtag Game of Thrones. 8 seasons, 70 plus episodes, $1 gajillion, all about how a woman goes crazy. Hey, hire women to write your damn show, okay? Hire women. I hate to break it to you, Missy, but the show, this is based off of a book, and the book writer is a white male, a straight white male. If you really cared about supporting female writers, why did you watch the show?
Just wondering.
Ellie Dawson says, it's going to take me time to process why I'm so disappointed in hashtag Game of Thrones. But let me say this. It's not only that female characters deserve better stories, it's that women deserve better storytellers. This is a harm of having only white men in the writer's room. And you know, this whole debacle shows something that I am meaning to get around to talking about. And that's Twitter has a huge problem with racism. Specifically racism against white people. If you say anything about any race on Twitter that isn't about white people or white men, you get banned. You're banned faster than you can say, you're just banned. Just like that, you're gone. But oh, it's okay to bash white men. Yeah, that's so progressive. You know, sometimes people ask, oh, why does politics matter? Why is it important? Because it affects your entire life. Because now cultural Marxism is being pushed by the progressive left, and men and anyone who's white are being discriminated against, are being hated, in many cases are being attacked. Yeah, it affects you, especially if you are of the Caucasian alignment. Evie Starling says, truly feels like the message of hashtag Game of Thrones is leaving us that women in power will always turn evil, and only women who keep their morality are those who eschew positions of relative power. Cute.
Well, I mean, maybe they have a point. Look at Europe right now.
What's that chick's name? Theresa May? Is that her name? Yeah, she's a horrible leader. She's destroying her country. You know, I don't want to be... Look, I don't want to be a dick.
He's lying.
But almost all of the countries out there in Europe who have female leaders, I've noticed that those countries tend to fall apart, tend to become rife with social programs and, weakness. and 10 to collapse. They become terrible places, overburdened by socialism, communism, special handouts. Look, I'm not saying that women can't lead, because I do believe there are women out there who make great leaders. I'm just saying that quite often, a lot of the ones who rise to power are not good leaders. Sandhya Ramesh says, so sad that hashtag Game of Thrones will go down in history as the biggest case study for how not to progress a story, why production houses shouldn't interface, what happens when writers change, how native peoples and people of color shouldn't be represented, and why one man shouldn't write women. So yeah, biggest case study about. Look, I agree that the last season is rushed and it's kind of bad if you think about it, because the writers don't have source material, because the author is a lazy shithead. But seriously, hiring women isn't going to fix anything. You just wanted a story where the Daenerys was a perfect little angel and she was some savior because you looked at her and you saw yourself. You thought, oh, I'm like Daenerys. I'm a savior. I would help everyone. Cool. You go, girl. But it turns out she's actually an insane, crazy tyrant. How did you not see it coming? Are you delusional? Is that why? Is it because through your eyes, you can only view people that you support in the best light? No room for criticism. No room for self-reflection. You know, this is really starting to make a lot of sense. I'm starting to understand how all these women out there who tend to be lefty types can't see the obvious. Violet Rose says, hashtag Game of Thrones went from, yes, power women will rule, to women are too emotional to be rulers real quick. It really doesn't feel right that all women who have been wronged and triumphed over in the series end it dead or crazy. Oh, and Daenerys didn't wrong anybody when she burnt a man and his son alive? She didn't wrong her own dragons? See, this is why Western society is crumbling. This is why our society is falling apart. We have equal rights now, which means that all these people can just go out there and have their dumb opinion. These are the people destroying Western society, my friends. These are the women that they're out there walking around in their high heels thinking they're smart. They've completely missed the point of the character. Raina Valentine Cosplay says, and the moral of hashtag Game of Thrones, powerful women and brown people are inherently insane and will inevitably snap and destroy the world, even if it goes directly against their established character and deserve to be killed. Wow, that was accidentally the most red-pilled thing that I've read all day.
Careful there. Very careful.
Andrea Pino Silva says, reminding us that the patriarchy still needs smashing. Men decide where power resides. Wow, the patriarchy? From Varys of all people? Okay, when they say men, it's like saying mankind, right? Okay, read. Oh, these people are dumb. But it doesn't surprise me. Ground Level Cloud says, anybody who's a fan or consistently watches hashtag Game of Thrones is contributing to the patriarchy and the objectification of women. Oh my god.
Cancer.
In our society, the show consistently portrays women as sex objects and damsels in distress. This is 2019.
The current year.
Content like this is not okay. So vile. Game of Thrones, complicated morality, brutal patriarchy, violence, lots and lots of violence, throw in some incest. This is what it was really like in medieval days. Me, but no women with leg hair, GOT. Don't be morbid. All that stuff is what makes the show good. Well, it hasn't been so good lately, but you know what I mean. Back to Hacker 4chan. A very innocent Anon had the following to say. Ding ding ding. I gotta tell you, I cannot wait for Daenerys to die. No, seriously, fresh Reddit who like Daenerys because they confuse her with the actress, or even those who unironically believe she's a good character or that she did nothing wrong. I'm talking about all of you. I am sustained solely by the mental image of your anguished screams and cries that will be heard when Jon plunges a long claw into Dany's guts. This isn't a shitpost. I'm deadly serious. Just imagine the look on her face, the betrayal, the surprise, the despair, as Jon drives the Valyrian steel blade through her internal organs. I am literally, unironically, masturbating to the thought of you pulling your hair out in frustration as you cry, your tears dripping into the floor as Daenerys sighs out her final breaths, blood seeping out of her mouth. Good God, I'm getting hard just by typing this post. I can feel blood rushing to my dick as I imagine you repeating, no, 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 over and over each time, increasing in volume and despair. as her corpse starts cooling on the ground of the throne room in King's Landing. The music will no doubt be extremely dramatic and sad, but I welcome it, for it will surely increase your sadness and rage even further. To add insult to injury, she'll probably stay alive for a little bit longer once she falls to the ground, and will most likely try to reach out and crawl towards the Iron Throne in an attempt to reach it at least once in her life. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. I can feel my orgasm building up as I imagine Jon putting a boot on her back to make sure she does not reach it. I hope you're ready for what happens in the last episode, because I cannot wait for your shitty character to finally receive the Dabbit special treatment. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll finally see good old decapitation on screen again. Or maybe Jon will squeeze the life out of her with his bare hands. One can only hope. F Roasties, F Danny, and F the Jannies. So as you can tell, people are really upset. People have mixed feelings about the show. So let's finish this up by looking at the chans for a bit to see what our favorite Annans have to say. Oh, and I have to say, know what the best thing about this is? Liberals take fictional shows extremely literally, as though it's a documentary. For instance, I've seen liberals meme that white men are evil by showing the gif where Jaime pushes Bran out the window. See? White men are evil. Now you have a woman behaving this way in the show, and oh, it's just stone writ. It's like a real life example to them. This is how a woman can act. Never mind, it's just fiction. No, this is valid stuff, like real life. I love it burns them this bad. It's strange. The writers were the one who made the show an absolute SJW cringe fest, and now they've done a complete 180 and BTFO their entire normie fanbase. TV speculates that this was their plan all along. Well, obviously, I told you I saw that coming a mile away. This is one of the best things about it. Dragon Lady acted that way everyone knew she was going to act, deep down inside, and that alone has these people effing shook. This Annan says, I know a woman who went nuts and severed ties with her best friend after having a dream where her best friend and her boyfriend were fooling around behind her back. The brain mechanism that separates reality from evident and obvious falsehood is broken in women. There's a case where a white Meereen was accused by his wife of struggle-snuggling her and beating her to death after a fight. The actual snuggle-struggler, a black Meereen, admitted to struggle-snuggling her, beating her, slamming her head with a pickaxe. The actual struggle-snuggler saw news of the conviction, knew it was about him, and felt guilty for effing over a fellow Meereen, so he admitted to it. DNA test confirmed this confession. To this day, the ex-wife still believes her husband attacked her, still accuses him publicly, and has even remembered him coming back to attack her again. In my opinion, the woman should be executed for this. So what? That it's a symptom of brain damage. All behavior derived from something organic in our brain anyway. Yeah, that woman's insane. Here's the thing about memories, folks, and this is just a little psychological tip for you. I actually study the human mind a lot. And I know I don't actually do any videos about it, so when I say something about the way the mind works, listen closely. So the way memory works, first of all, you don't directly record memories. It's not like this audio recording. You see, when I save this audio recording and I store it, it's going to be exactly the way it was. For humans, memories are broken up. They're broken up into pieces, right? And we remember the main points, and that goes into memory. But that creates gaps. Okay, so like if you think of yesterday and you think of the stuff you did, you're not going to remember every single minute of the day. You're going to say, oh, and for the morning I had breakfast. And then it was lunch, and then I went to work, and I did stuff at work, and then I came home around 5, I had lunch, think I had a sandwich. You know, you remember the general sequence of events, but you don't actually remember the entire event. So this means that there's gaps in memories, and it's been proven that these gaps can be filled with information that was never there. For example, if you have a good vacation, over time you're actually going to start to believe that the vacation was actually better than it actually was, because you keep the positive memories, the positive chunks, which leaves gaps. And if you're thinking back, you're feeling happy and you think back, your current emotions are actually going to fill those gaps. And we also know that memories themselves can be entirely false. If you truly believe something, like this woman who believed her husband attacked her, your brain will invent false memories. The brain's a rationalization engine. It's always trying to fill in the gaps, but it's not always accurate, and sometimes it just makes stuff up completely. In another post that didn't age well, men for Hillary. Hillary Stormborn of House Clinton, first of her name, Unburnt, the Silver Queen, mother of LGBT, and breaker of chains. Actually, I think this did age well, because it fits her perfectly. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about all these women getting absolutely triggered by Daenerys becoming a genocidal maniac in Game of Thrones? Be sure to let me know. If you'd like to support the work I do, you can do so by joining me on Patreon, Subscribestar, or donating through PayPal. Thank you for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.